All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Today I'm going to do a video which I haven't done in a while, which is a deck profile. And I want to do the deck profile on, well, my most consistent deck that has brought me many victories, and one for whose the secret seems to be out already, Grandiskuwagamon. It has won me several stores um, now after a few weeks. And I lost to another Grandis this past weekend over for a story championship in which I break. But I love the consistency of this deck. I think the build is pretty good. It's got some spice that a lot of people haven't added. So let's get started with it, right? So I run 3 of the Gummymons to draw 1. This deck does suspend quite a bit, so you kind of do want to draw sometimes. But I also recognize that there's some importance to be able to swing at a higher DP. We do have jamming in this deck, but the higher DP sometimes helps you get around like strong Digimon and security if your opponent happens to have some, especially if you don't draw your Grandis, which swings for 16, right? And even then, there are new Digimon who are in that could be in security that have 16 DP. So Yoko is not as much of a priority, but I definitely would like to run a couple of them to the 3. The ratio has been pretty solid for me. I know most people do 4 and 1, but I like the capacity to have a little bit of a balance, if you will, between. I run 2 Terriermon, the obligatory. You can't stopping your opponent from gaining memory. You definitely want to run something like that, or something that keeps the play cost being reduction. Every deck right now needs to run something like that. I only run 2. I haven't needed 4, especially since you're going to be searching for your pieces anyway. And one of the things that I love to do is essentially get a lot of setup going, and then set up my opponent with a Terriermon, in which situation they have to deal with the Terriermon, or the Terriermon will be the one swinging for game in the end, right? And sometimes I can choke with it. It's one of my favorite things is to use a low memory Digivolution to go to like 2 or something like that, and then put down a Terriermon, and then put my opponent at 1, and then the Terriermon becomes something that they must how to deal with. So that's the reason I run 2 of those. I also run 4 of the Kakuamon Searcher, the X and the body form. Of course, you want to search for the cards that you need. Kakuamon's very good at that. It searches for an insectoid or machine, so meaning it can search for itself, or it can search for any of the insectoids that we'll talk about in just a little. Right. It also can digivolve on top of the regular Kakuamon, which is most of the time the only addition to this new BT10 deck. The inheritor was that it can swing, kill a Digimon, and gain 1 memory. In this situation, you actually don't need to Digiburst that much if you're gonna be fighting opponents that have a lot of Digimon, because you can pierce through them. The only time you would do that is if you have Grandis set up, right, and you want to go for game all in one turn. So you kind of have a flexibility of being able to do that. So I have Kakuamon. Sometimes if I have 3 memory, I can drop a regular Kakua, go for an X on the body form, and do the draw for Digivolution, and then do the search for 3, since Kakua does both on play and when Digivolving. So if you have the 3 memory and both Kakuas, you can get your Digivolution, draw 1 for Digivolving, and then search. Pretty cool. I run 4 of the Palmon. The jamming is just so good. I could probably cut a few. Palmon has been pretty solid, however. It gives me the confidence to swing no problem, even with the smaller Frankuaga sometimes, because again, sometimes you just won't get Grandis. So Palmon at 4 has been pretty good. I like Palmon at 4. It's usually on the egg, it's usually the first one to go on top of it, trying to get ready to set up for Grand Kuaga. I run 3 of the Weedmon. Digivolve for 1. If you Digiburst it, you gain that 1 memory. Memory in this deck has been pretty good. I haven't needed to run 4. I haven't needed to burst this every single time to get my combo off. But getting that 1 is also pretty nice to have. The problem is the Weedmon is not a insectoid, so if you are searching and you kind of didn't draw a level 4, you cannot target the Weedmon. You can't search for it. So I kind of lowered the number because of that. Because every time I've needed a champion and I've had the opportunity to search, I pull up Weedmon and it cannot be picked up with the searchers. I run 3 Stingmon, which is an insectoid, which also has an inheritable that when it kills you gain 1. right? Does not need to be digibursted, but if you do happen to, you can swing into kill something. Swing into something that's suspended and gain memory and continue to do combos off of that. I run two Kabuterimons. The blocker digivolves for one. Insectoid also, as well as a Flymon. Insectoid. If they hit insecurity, it gets to play. Right, pretty good ability to have, and only digivolves for two, and it's also a target that you can. This is one that you could definitely just go ahead and either put a Stingmon or a Weedmon instead. I just really like the Flymon because if my opponent like gets super happy and starts going after my security and they hit it, I have a Flymon that could potentially that threatens to swing for game if they don't deal with it. And I happen to be building up a Grandis, which is the whole point of this deck anyway, right? So something to keep in mind: you always want to have that extra swing after Grandis goes through your opponent's security. Flyman is one of those possible that your opponent can trigger. The other one is to Mimi and hatch out and bring out your Turkey, or you can also hybrid for game, which you can do with one Metal Cavalterian that I run, for example. Right? Digivolve for two off a Tamer, or you can Digivolve for one off of a level 4 and give yourself some more fuel to Digiburst off of. So Metal Cavalterian one's pretty good in this situation. I know some people would probably rather run the one that Digivolves for two off of your Ricky, for example, but that hasn't been a terrible situation yet. Like usually, we've been pretty good at getting the other. Next, I run three of the promo Okuamon. Only three. Here's the piercing inheritable, as well as your spending your whenever your opponent suspends, they lose one memory. Is awesome, incredible. But in my meta specifically, that hasn't been super great. There's only one Digimon to suspend usually on your opponent's side. It can or may not make a difference, but honestly, I'd rather sometimes get the two from the regular Akuamon, from the older Akuamon, BT10 Akuamon. Digivolve for two, and then if you kill without any limit, there's no once per turn. Anytime you kill something, you gain memory. So you can kill multiple Digimon with this card and gain the memory each time you kill something. I run two of that Akuamon. For a total of 5 Akuamons that are regular here. I run 4 of the X on a body. Any of them can Digivolve on top of the Akuamon for free, and if you do that on top of the Akuamon, you can suspend your opponent, and it reduces the cost of your level 6 on top of it by 1, which is awesome, because it means that you have a better chance of getting it cheaper Digimon in the top level, which is, of course, Grandiskuwagamon. Grandiskuwagamon is the big daddy of this deck. Digiburst to gain security checks, and it's the one that allows you to go through your opponent's security. There are times when you won't draw the Grandis, and Grandiskuwagamon has had to swing himself for me a few times, and so the jamming from the Palmon has come in clutch, very useful. Gaining the memory, being able to pierce and gain memory when killing a Digimon. It has happened sometimes. And if you're destroying your opponent's Digimon in that manner, you know you lower their potential to kill your Grandiskuwagamon. They might have to deal with it. They might have to kill it. But if this guy's out, I'm probably building in the back already another one. Probably building another stack in my hatchery. You need to run 4 Grandis. If you don't draw the combo, you need one. The combos here. These you gotta run full 4 of each one. You gotta pick up the pieces. You gotta find them. Every card in here is dedicated to being able to pull off the OTK combo, the one-turn knockout combo. And Grandis and Grandiskuwagamon, you need both in order to pull that off. I run 3 Mimis, right? You need your Searcher, your Memory Setter. Plus, she gets to hatch something when you have a level 5 out. Or if you have a Rookie in the hatchery, you can suspend her to bring them out. And if Grandis already went through this whole security, then that Digimon can swing. I run 3 of the Green Memory Boost. Honestly, I wouldn't blame you who ran 4. You really need to find your pieces. Green Memory Boost looks up 4 cards, and it's pretty good. And I actually used to run 4, but too many times when I needed a Digimon, I would just pull up another Green Memory Boost, and 3 seems to be a perfect number to have in order. Next, one card that you may not have considered, but I feel is very good. Digivolution Plugin S drops for 2 and lets you Digivolve. Actually, first of all, draw 1, and then you can Digivolve 1 Digimon from your hand. If it costs 3, then it costs you just 2, which is pretty awesome. That means that you can actually go into X antibody for 2 if you really need it. Right? If you really need to go into the X antibody form without the Akuamon, you can just go ahead and plug in S. You can also just go into the promo for 2 with this card, so it makes them available to be 2. So not only would you want to do a Akuamon for 2, if you have this card, you can go into the promo Akuamon for a cheap reduced cost, and even Grandiskuwagamon can digivolve for 2 instead. It won't work with Grandis as much because it does digivolve for 4, and you need to be 3 digivolution cost. But if you have a Grand Kuaga, you can just go into it for 1 anyway, so it won't probably affect you too much in that situation. But Digivolution plugin has been pretty good. And if your opponent hits it in security, you reveal 3 and add a Digimon, which is pretty awesome. If you're looking for pieces and they hit this, your opponent's actually kind of helping you, which is awesome. I consider running more of that. Electroshocker and X Antibody, these 2 cards are more defensive. Your opponent hits the X Antibody, they lose 1 memory. Shocker sends 1 card back to their hand, very defensive. They hit it, they're gonna see their Digimon go back to the hand. And the X Antibody, of course, if you have just a regular Akuamon and you swing, you can go into Grandis. If you're missing some pieces, sometimes you're just kind of forced to do that, and Grandis will suspend something, and then you can still target something, gain your memory, right, and then stand back up and then swing again into something else. So this combo with the X Antibody and the Akuamon is, if you're missing pieces, you can still deal with Digimon, right? You can still suspend Digimon your opponent has and kill them and gain memory all together, and that's nice little side combo that you can pull off sometimes if you don't have all the pieces. Okay. Yeah, so that is the deck profile. This deck has been pretty good to me. I love every single card in this. Plugin is one that a lot of people don't consider. The only change, of course, from BT10 is Kakua. I know we have EX3 coming out soon, but I wanted to let you guys see what we're thinking about doing with these. Right? So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.